Welcome to Raptor's Recon, and today's topic is Solo, an empty theater story. We're going to go into a little bit of some statistics here. I did a little research looking at a couple theaters to see how many seats were actually pre-purchased for the entire weekend, and I think the results will be a little bit shocking in a good way. I'm thinking perhaps we are sending that message, and hopefully the message that will be sent is,
You have failed me for the last time, Admiral.
okay, so let's get started. I sampled a theater in Texas and a theater in Florida. I put it up on the screen here. As you can see, the seats sold 1,726, seats available 5,704. For Florida, seats sold was 1,745, and the seats available were 18,775. You can take a look at the totals down below, and that kind of sets up the data, the sample size of those two randomly selected theaters. Okay, next I'm going to give you a visual representation of what we just talked about for both Texas and Florida. So you kind of see in blue, those are the amount of seats sold. The orange represents how many seats were available at the time. So you can see the difference between the two. It's pretty staggering. So I'll let you guys take a look at that for a moment. Okay, so let's put this in perspective of day-by-day breakdown of the week. Basically Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, I'm going to start with Texas. This is the percentage of seats sold versus those available. Okay, so the percentage of seats sold on Thursday was 60.58%, Friday 35.2%, Saturday 37.38%, Sunday 25.09%, Monday 8.23%. If we move on to Florida, the percentage of seats sold on Thursday was 17.78%, Friday 14.51%, Saturday 11.48%, Sunday 5.63%, and Monday 1.54%. Now, just think about that. Look at the charts, and if you heard those percentages, that's staggering. Now, I know people will show up to the movies last minute and buy it. We're all procrastinators in our own way, and not everybody pre-buys their tickets. I get that. But I can tell you this, when I went to go find tickets for Deadpool, I had to search for a day that I can find enough seats that were not in the freaking front row, and I basically had to pick Sunday evening to be able to get that in my area. So it wasn't easy, and I looked through a bunch of different times. So the fact that I can go in here, and I mean, I'm looking at theaters with hundreds of seats available. You have no idea. I have this all on Excel. It's crazy. You know, when you see a number of basically 0 out of 372, that means 0 seats reserved out of 372, and that's not on the Monday. Okay, that is actually on Sunday, and there's one on Saturday like that too. It's crazy. So anyway, let's keep going here. So then I asked myself, what proportion of theater seats will moviegoers fill for a Solo, a Star Wars story? I used a sample of 24,479 theater seats, as you saw in the previous slides, and I found that 14% of the sampled theater seats were purchased. When I compared, I added those all together, a whopping 14%. My question is, how confident can we be that 14% is close to the actual proportion of all theater seats moviegoers will fill? So in order to get a somewhat accurate population size, there's a number of ways to approach it. I used Rogue One as a baseline, kind of get some numbers to help me steer me in the right direction. Obviously, Rogue One made the amount you see up there. I assumed $15 per movie, and I came up with an approximate number of attendees, i.e. seats filled. And you can see that up there. So that represents a population. I also tried a different way, and I don't have it up here on the screen, but I went to the movie statistics and saw that over the opening weekend there was basically 4,157 theaters that showed Rogue One, and then I took basically the average of seats per showing and I ran the numbers with that 4157, and when I plugged all the numbers into the stats calculator, it all came out to pretty much the same as what you got here. So anyway, I'll go with my original numbers. You see the population number there. I set the confidence level to 99%, the highest level. You could also use 95%. That's something that they typically use in the stats. My sample size was 24,479, and the percentage that we determined previously was 14%. When I ran the numbers and churned those out, basically the confidence interval is 0.57. So what does that mean? Basically, this weekend would represent basically 14% plus or minus 0.57%, which means basically this is pretty tight as far as statistics are concerned. Now, I took that number times what Rogue One made over the weekend. It's not going to be exact, obviously, and that's 21.7 million. Now, that is not, I will repeat, that is not what I'm saying Solo is going to make this weekend. What I am saying is, when you churn out these numbers and you see the fact that there are so many seats available, now people are going to buy it. Like I've said, people are going to buy these tickets at the last minute and whatnot. But I'm just saying, the backlash is strong with this one. This is a no joke, and I am glad. So I urge everyone to keep the faith, keep strong. Don't let yourself get tempted into going in and seeing this movie. It's got horrible reviews. There's all kinds of nonsense associated, and number one is we want to send a message. Now, I agree with the guys from World Class Bullshitters. This can't be the only message, but just like the Death Star, this is the first chance for us, for the rebellion, to get our first major victory. It's here with Solo, a Star Wars story. This is it. And the numbers, I mean, let me tell you something. Going to see Avengers Infinity War, I had to fight for tickets. Going to see Deadpool 2 on opening weekend, I had to fight to try and find, not fight, but I had to really search for them. And sometimes finding, obscure, either bad seats-ish or weird times. So there is no problems here. This sucker is wide open. I mean, I cannot believe in a theater with over 300 seats and nobody in the middle of the day on a weekend, or in the evening on a weekend. I have the times down as far as when I recorded all this. I did this for every single showing in every format. I did IMAX format. I did normal, just straight digital format. I did 3D. I did normal, straight up, no frills, no thrills movies. From the AM to the PM, from Thursday through Monday. The numbers speak for themselves. So, I urge everyone, keep the faith, and I'm telling you, this is it. I'm telling you, this is going to be that first blow. This is the first Death Star. It's going to get taken out by us. I am very confident. If you ask me what the numbers were at first, I would have told you, gosh, probably 120 million domestically. Man, I'm thinking closer to 100. I'm thinking closer to 100. If it wasn't for the fact that I actually looked at more, at a couple theaters here, and let me tell you, I wanted to add more numbers in here, but it takes a long time to sit there and count and bring up the seat selection for every single time frame and every single format for multiple. I basically wanted to do one for Texas, Florida, New York, California, kind of pick a couple differences, but it was just way too long. So just realize this is it, man. The proof is in the pudding, but we got to stay strong, because obviously there's going to be folks who want to go see this, just to go see a movie. But I would urge you, fight your urge. Don't get your Star Wars fix. Let's send that message to Kathleen Kennedy, to Disney, that we didn't like what happened in The Last Jedi. We don't like what's going on with the original trilogy characters. We don't like the treatment of the fans, the bad-mouthing and insulting of the fans constantly, continuous. There's no reason there should be an animus between the fans and this business. When you're a business, you should not be angry with your customers and vice versa. It makes no sense to have a combative relationship the way they've basically created it. And there should not be random political agenda-driven nonsense thrown into Star Wars, especially sexual stuff. This stuff, that's over the top, man. This is supposed to be family-friendly. We're going in to see a good Star Wars movie, good versus evil, and all of the other wonderful themes that George Lucas has inspired and created in his mythos. So I'd love to hear what you think about this. Please comment below. Hit me up with a like, share this, and if you like the channel, subscribe. May the Force be with us. I think it is. As you can see, early results are pointing in the right direction. So let's take out this first Death Star and send that message.
Finish her! Flawless victory!